What if there's nothing to fix? What a powerful, centering, grounding affirmation. Feel it in your body right now. There's nothing to fix. Amazing. But, dot, dot, dot. How do you take this amazingness into everyday life? Especially, let's just say half an hour after this amazing grounding meditation that you just had, and then half an hour later, your partner triggers you. Where does there's nothing to fix fit into that situation? Or how does it coexist the next morning when you show up to work and there's all kinds of things that could use some fixing, right? From communication to boundaries to organization, I don't know, all kinds of things, right? What about your health? That's hard. How do you sit in a body, uh, even with discomfort, maybe, pain that it's mild? How do you sit with that and with there's nothing to fix at the same time in the same breath? So that's what we're talking about. I want to bring you my perspective, not as an ultimate thing, right? And it's not even my perspective, my practice. I want to bring my practice with this because I really believe it's very powerful. The funny part is, for whatever reason, I don't know why I didn't see this before. Probably because I was partaking in the bypass, just a hunch myself. But now I'm also seeing something that I want to bring up just as an attention, as an observation. Because once you see it, it's like, oh yeah, that's bypassing. Okay. So for me, there's nothing to fix is sort of part one of the practice that allows part two into expression. The bypass that I'm seeing is when this is just used as the end all, there's nothing to fix. And I get it, because take the meditation space, and that's where we're practicing the relationship with ourselves, the relationship with all the things that arise, right? And so when we move into there's nothing to fix, especially for a brain that is so trained into prediction, into how do I make the best decision? How do I organize my day? How do I fit everything into my day linearly? And the constant self-observation, right? Like, I'm seeing the pattern, I see the correlation, I see how this goes all the way into childhood, right? It's always, where's the solution in this, right? The overactive brain. There's nothing to fix, provides that doorway, and it's a somatic, if you use it like that, I guess. It's truly a somatic practice of being aware of your body here and now, bypassing that hamster wheel type activity in the brain. And it provides an immediate relief. It's like the burden of the constant seeking takes a break, right? Your body feels itself without that backpack. I'm seeing it because it is such a relief. People coming to that practice to get that relief. And there's nothing wrong with that if you are aware of it, right? If you're understanding that I need a break, and that's okay that I need a break. But when you're coming to it without you knowing, when you're coming to it thinking that it is a solution and somehow, I'm going to exaggerate here. It might not be exactly what's going on within you, but I'm going to take it all the way into bypassing. I'm going to say somehow when you completely surrender, you think you're surrendering and you're saying there's nothing to fix because the universe somehow takes it over. That is a disempowering state. So it's okay to take a break, but you're surrendering the burden, not your responsibility, not because you're so exhausted at the end that you're just giving up. They're tiny degrees apart, but as you practice this, it can become that degree in time can become a huge differentiation. And so just be aware of that. So, okay, how do I use this practice? I'm just going to use in my own understanding and awareness in my own practice. I use it in meditation to practice that distance, truly, simply put, between response and reaction. And so in meditation, when you take that breath and you stay with there is nothing to fix, you allow what is to rise, to show up. And instead of jumping into interpretation immediately, you stay with it. So this is a capacity, a nervous system capacity increaser. It's a somatic tool for you to build that distance, for you to be able to have the capacity that's required to stay with yourself in that disagreement, in that full conflict, in the disappointment, in the sorrow, whatever is happening in your life. But you can do that because you're practicing in your meditation, right? And so, take pain, for example, because it's so tangible. And if you don't feel pain in your body right now, pinch yourself just so you have that experience. Pinch and hold that. And in a very realistic way, say out loud, there's nothing to fix, and feel how that lands. Is it true? Does it feel aligned between, do you feel that alignment between the pain and there's nothing to fix? It's difficult. So instead of aligning the words, you're aligning I call them coordinates, right? And I call this capacity increaser locate. You're literally sitting with that pain and you're describing, I feel this pain around this part of my body. You're locating it. You're describing the intensity. You're describing the type of pain you are feeling. You can do this with emotions as well. And you're sort of creating a coordinate system of your sensory perception of what is real, what is happening right here, right now, at a very realistic basis. So for this type of exercise, we're just for the simplicity of it, we're going to call reality and what's real pain, emotion, feeling. What situations are actually happening to us, we're calling that real. I'm not going into, well, how real is real. It's very simple. What we feel is real. The interpretation of that is highly subjective. And so this locating capacity practice is trying to develop these coordinate system through your senses to develop the distance between reaction and response. And don't minimize this practice because it just feels so simple to the mind. You're just sitting there and you're counting emotion. If you want to take it even deeper, you can take whatever is happening, like a pain or a discomfort, right? And it could be just a tight stomach, the clenching of your jaw, the tightness in the upper back. All those you can start defining, right? Defining the coordinates, but you can also take them through all your senses, right? Not just the feeling part. You can even give it, if you were to take your that discomfort through your vision, what color would it be? What smell would it be if that discomfort would be a smell, right? So you could really develop that mapping, that locate through a lot more of your real mapping of your perception. Even though it sounds overly simplistic, when you can develop this capacity to be with your body, there's a lot of things energetically that are happening in the background. So that's why I'm telling you, do not minimize this, because as you're present in your body, your energetic light body is, and your subconscious mind, it doesn't even have to be that, is reorganizing all your interpretations, all your projections, all your hopes, all your expectations around this subject, and they're grounding them. It's basically collapsing that energy into the moment, into the here and now. If you want a quantum expression, you're turning the looping light waving that has been shaped into seeking, into this interpretation, into this highly subjective world of your own making, and it's compressing them or returning them back into stillness if you have enough presence in your awareness. That collapse can trigger massive, depending on what the subject is, depending how long, these things have been carried in your body, depending of your Akashic field. Is it really yours, or is it, through the whole lineage? It can really trigger some massive amounts of grief and sorrow, because we're talking energy packets that have been retained in limbo, right? They're sort of like in form, but not in form all the way. So they keep playing out through the emotional, through the mental aspect of the self. So that's why this is a capacity building practice. You keep building it, you keep going deeper and deeper. And part 2, if you can stick around with just this level, something amazing arises naturally. This is what it's been called non-doing, right? Because let's take this again, this pain. When you're able to stay with the pain and just locate it, I feel it, I can delineate it, I can call an intensity, and I don't have to question it. This is where there's nothing to fix. I don't have to interpret it. I don't have to understand it. That's the fixing. I'm removing myself and I'm holding reactivity from prematurely interpreting what is happening. That is you arriving into full acceptance of what is. So, step 1 is basically you allowing life to be fully experienced before you need it to be something different. Do you get that? Because that's what we're doing when we're reacting. We're fighting it. We're questioning it before we even have that full experience of what is it that I'm fully feeling, that I'm fully meeting. So that's why it's really a lot more, it takes a lot more awareness to be in that type of space. Meditation is practicing that relationship over and over. Part 2 shows up, this non-doing, when that experience has fully been taken in, or it has been fully allowed to be taken in. You're no longer arguing with what is. And the beauty, the solution starts to arise naturally. So there's nothing to fix is not surrender, is actually such an empowerment, because now that body will naturally tell you, but I want to move now. And you know what you start to crave. You know what you like, in which way do you want to move? Is it a walk? Is it stretching? Is it yoga? Or maybe it's simply, I need a rest. I need to literally lay down, maybe on the grass. Uh, maybe I need to go for a swim. Maybe I need a deeper intervention. Whatever it is, there is a natural movement that I call participation. The next part, too, is an empowerment to participate with life. You're able, because you have the capacity to withstand the reality of what is, you have the capacity to continue to participate with that reality in whichever way. And so when you're doing this practice with yourself, it's a little bit easier. When you take this participation, part 2, in a relationship, it gets a lot harder because now there's 2 nervous systems. There's 2 uh, observers, right? The system now is in motion. It complicates the whole thing. So it's not just double, it's like tenfold more difficult. So that's why we have to go back and practice harder. Stillness and relaxation harder, which is so funny. But it's almost like you cannot do once you get the hang of it, because it becomes even more important to be able to locate yourself in partnership, in relationship, so you're not preemptively reacting, right? All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is so toxic. You know, we definitely need to take this conversation to a whole new level. We need to, when you're able to understand that I'm still reacting, right? Or things are still happening within me. Is it smart for me to conclude and speak up from that reactivity? Or do I need more time for this, whatever is happening, to finish so that I can fully allow that part 2 to express itself? And then I can see, okay, once my reaction is complete, my senses, right? Because it could be anger, and you can feel that anger come up. If you're quick to interpret your anger, now you're not locating and allowing yourself to come fully into acceptance. You're prematurely rejecting reality. And so, of course, we want to get out of it, because that discomfort is higher than us prematurely come with a solution just to move somewhere else. So locate is an incredible, powerful capacity that we can develop in our nervous system. And what's beautiful, and I'm speaking from my own experience, is that it's so surprising. Once I come into that acceptance, which I call legitimacy, because whatever it is that I'm feeling, however my body responded to that stimuli or to another, it is legitimate. So I have to honor it. I have to value it. But now that I'm so aware, I am able to so locate myself precisely that I can also differentiate that maybe this was not a problem. Maybe something in the communication was mismatched. And once that was taken care of, there is no problem. Maybe it is, wow, I'm seeing this so clearly, and I'm seeing how advanced the situation is, that I have to completely remove myself from this space, right? So then it's like, how do I start a disengagement from this whole situation? Again, on the outside, it looks like movement is happening, right? It's from which place you move makes a big difference as that angle, right, as the timeline advances. I hope this makes sense. I try to go slow. I try to go slow for myself to be able to explain it as clearly as possible. Conversation is definitely a much stronger a setting for me to participate in. Anyway, I'm just taking an exhale here. Check out what I do. I do offer these type of self awareness practice spaces. I do offer one-on-one spaces if you want somebody to observe you. If you want energy healing with an integration aspect, that is so important. Check out all those things, but more importantly, in this space, let me know how you use "there's nothing to fix." Thank you so much. I'll see you around.